Let me quickly show you the one endgame boss in Fallout 76.
I was like, I'm for sure dead if she hits me.
And down she goes.
You can do it way faster, I assure you.
And that's about it. Fallout 76 has a massive problem, and it's bringing down the morale of those few of us still actively supporting and trying to encourage others to play. And frankly, I can't really do that anymore. I thought that Fallout 76 was meant to be a game with an extensive amount of grinding up to an end game level, as to which, at that point, you would be introduced to droves of new and incredibly challenging content. Instead, you finish off doing the chores Dad asked you to complete, and instead of finding yourself with some form of improvement, there's nothing. The big problem with Fallout 76 is that there's nothing to grind for, and the quests to get you to that point are the entertainment equivalent of reading a book about a man watching a movie about a dog listening to a radio which is explaining the progress of how paint dries. The game up to level 100 is actually pretty great, besides some incredibly mediocre and lackluster questing that leaves a lot to be desired. There's actually a good amount of world to explore, a lot of enemies to discover and kill, and some pretty fun events to complete if they don't break on you. When you finally reach level 100, your build is complete and you're ready for the big leagues. But then the game completely dies off and you realize that you're too powerful. There's no enemies to challenge you, there's no content that puts your power to the test, it simply ends in you traveling from location to location, grinding up levels, acquiring perk cards, and seeing how fast you can kill enemies. It's a shame because this world is definitely one of Bethesda's best. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it feels diverse, but it's empty and soulless. And to make matters worse, the world is scaled, not to your level. So that makes roughly 50% of the map entirely useless to revisit after you're done with it. Why? Low-level enemies give you nothing but bad experience and under-leveled gear. There's no reason to go back there. Now, they have added a bit of content since the base game release, certainly to keep players who've already done everything entertained slightly as they try to fix bugs, some of which are still in the game since launch and are still game-breaking. The content they've added usually keeps players entertained for about a day or so, simply because it's new, but we quickly learn it's not worth the time and the resources to do, so the new stuff dies off quickly. Even the raids, which players literally waited the year for, the most anticipated content to finally challenge powerful players, was a total waste of time. Literally, it's a timed raid filled with broken mechanics that usually end up killing your group due to them not working properly. The enemies are easy. In fact, they're too easy. But the time just ends up being an annoyance, something that makes you complete it once and then never again revisit it, because the rewards are hardly worth it. It's disheartening to wait so long for something that's supposed to enhance the game, for it to be old news even when it's brand new. I thoroughly enjoyed my level 1 to 100 experience. It was fun playing with friends and exploring this world, but man does it ever drop off with such limited content to do. It's like they're trying to create Niagara Falls, but with one bottle of water at a time. The endgame goal sounds fantastic, but the supply to get there, well, it's just not enough. Endgame players are doing the same thing day in and day out, and frankly, they're not coming back. I've had countless people talk to me about the lack of endgame content, and that being the very reason they drop off.
The only thing I care about is like literally talking to other people because there's nothing else for me to do. There's nothing else for me to do.
I'm getting my hopes up incredibly high for Wastelanders in November, as this will be the indicator of how long we'll have to wait for endgame content. If this ends up being only for new players and a complete cakewalk for advanced players, the hope for good endgame content will dissipate, and the game will be nothing more than high-level players killing the same enemies over and over again, trying to convince themselves it's fun. But besides all that, 10 out of 10, the game definitely needs more realistic DMV quests that make you sit there for half an hour, but still great!